Welcome everyone. It's so nice to see so many people join this evening to share an evening with Joe and Donna and hear Ted. My name is Kathleen Boshears and I work in our institutional advancement department and arrange some of these events this week for Albion Everywhere. I am going to be muting everyone so that we can hear Joe and Donna and Ted as they converse. We had some wonderful questions submitted. So Ted is kind of steering his conversation around some of the questions that were submitted by you. So thank you for those. And we are going to be recording the event. So if you don't want your lovely face shown, you can go ahead and turn your video off. But we hope everybody stays engaged throughout the conversation. And also we have a moment here where we'd like to take a screenshot of the attendees. So Emily, our assistant of stewardship in the IA department, is on, and she's going to be taking a picture to share on social media and our website. So Em, are you ready? All right, so everybody smile. Did you get it?
Hang on, let me do another one. It paused too early, so we were all in the process of smiling pretty.
Okay.
All right, everybody smile now. There we go.
Oh, great. Did you get it?
That's harder than I thought it would be to capture all of that, but we're all good.
All right, good. So Emily from our department's here, and then Robin, who's a director of philanthropy. You want to say hi, Robin? And then Garrett as well is our, actually, Garrett just was promoted. I don't even know your new title, Garrett.
No worries. Hi, everybody. I've met many of you in person or online the past 4 years at Albion College. My name is Garrett Norton. I'm the Chief Advancement Officer in the Institutional Advancement Office. And I want to say thanks everybody for joining tonight, for being a part of this special event where we get to learn more about Joe and Donna Calvaruso.
All right. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Ted Everingham. He is a proud graduate of the 1961 class. So what'd you say, 60 years ago, Ted? You're going to have to unmute yourself.
Of course I am.
There you go.
Yeah, it was 60 years ago, last June 5th or 6th, something like that was graduation day, and walked across the state of Kresge and down the steps and into the world.
Yeah. And then Ted went on to University of Michigan and got his doctorate of jurisprudence in 1964 and has been in the law profession since then. But I have to say, I've had the pleasure of working with Ted for the last not quite year, but Ted is on our Alumni Board of Directors and he is the president and works tirelessly with his board. And I've gotten the chance to get to know him through that process, and it's been a pleasure. And the time vested and the volunteer work that he does is tremendous. So Ted, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kathleen, and the thanks go to you. Kathleen's the one that keeps me from making a bundle of mistakes every day. We talk, I think we correspond by email or telephone or text probably a dozen times a week. And it's been great fun. Thank you for all you do to keep this group going. What a pleasure it is for me to be here to help us all get more acquainted with Donna and Joe Calvaruso. Joe, of course, is our interim president. He graduated from Albion in 1978 and then went on to the University, Western Michigan University, where he got a Master of Business Administration, an MBA, and spent thereafter 29 years in the banking industry. I think his last position was Senior Vice President, Director of Risk Management at Mercantile Bank. 29 years. If that weren't enough, he went on to spend 12 years as Executive Director of the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Foundation in Grand Rapids, and has extensive experience as a trip lead for the White House Advance Team, both in the United States and abroad, serves on a number of nonprofit boards. And late last year, when asked if he would please step in and serve as interim president of our college, he said yes, for which we're all grateful. And of course, there's Donna. I rarely see Joe without seeing Donna. This is a case where 1 + 1 is 2.4 or something like that. Donna, Joe, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Well, you're welcome, Ted. It's honored to be at a place where you graduated from and a place we love so dearly. And Donna's adopted Albion.
I always say I've adopted Albion.
25 years ago this year, we got married at Belmont Manor. And so
oh my goodness,
that here in a few weeks. And
it's hard to believe.
well, the time goes fast. Marcia and I met when I was in college. We were married over in Marshall, where she grew up. And we came back to Albion and Marshall in August to celebrate, well, a special anniversary. I'm a romantic at heart, so we did all that. But welcome, and thanks for joining us, Joe and Donna. Joe, let me ask you this to start things. When you were asked if you would step in as interim president, how long did it take you to decide to say yes?
it didn't take me very long. I did say, Mike Harrington called me one night, and Mike's pretty convincing. He was chairman at the time, and I said, "Can I ask my wife?" And he says, "That's probably a good idea to do it." So I asked Donna, and then
Yeah, I remember the exact moment, because we actually were in the car driving when he asked him.
That's great. Yeah.
So I was with him, and he's like, I didn't know what because he wasn't on speaker, so I didn't know what they were talking about. And then he's like, I better ask my wife. I was like, I wonder what that's about. So,
but it's an honor and a privilege to do this. And there was a little rough patch we went through, and we certainly want to get us back moving forward, which we are. And so it's just been great to be here and well accepted in the community. We spent the first few weeks doing what we called our visiting tour. We literally went from one end of town to the other end, dropping off cookies and saying hello. And Donna was with me every step of the way.
Yeah, but we just listened to people, listened about their concerns, their questions, what they told us about themselves. And it was really a lot of fun to get to really know people. And we're continuing to get to know people every day.
I'm sure you are. I know, Joe, you said at the beginning that in December that your job beginning in January after the holidays was your listening tour. Did you have any surprises?
Most people accepted us pretty much right out of the box. It was people well received us. They were happy to see and connect. What I was actually probably most surprised by how many people knew us, even still knew my parents. I've been born and raised in the community of Albion, and been here for a number of years. It was amazing how many people connected fairly quickly with us. And my brother-in-law is Art Kale. He's a graduate a few years before me, but was star of the baseball team. And it was amazing how many people connected with us. And literally almost everybody we met connected one way or the other. But the first one we stopped to, they says, "I remember going to your mother's beauty shop as a 5-year-old getting my hair cut." And that kind of got us set in the right direction.
That was something that really touched me, was hearing, people bringing him stories about his parents that he never knew. And because his dad was really involved in the community, which probably doesn't surprise you. But yeah, your dad was really involved in things. So a lot of people knew him.
Well, and if memory serves, Joe, you go back several generations on both sides of your family as residents of the community of Albion, right?
Yeah, that's it, right, Ted. My mother's side goes back 6 generations in the Albion or immediate area. My dad goes back 3 generations. in the Albion, greater Albion area. So it was really a lot of fun, and it was heartwarming to see that coming together so well in January. We did get off the road for a few weeks in January. It got pretty cold, and the COVID put us offline with our listening tour, but we're back at it.
Oh, yeah, I'm the genealogist in the family, and it was like, I went back 5 generations, and then I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Ekam is here too. So it was like 6 generations. It was incredible.
Oh my heavens. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So-
all buried out here.
Tell us a little bit, Donna, about being the interim first lady of Albion College.
Oh, it truly is an honor, and I've enjoyed getting to know the staff. I've enjoyed getting to know the students and people in the community. We had students over here, last week?
Mhm.
And it's so exciting to talk to the students and to talk to them about their futures. And it brings me joy every time I talk with them and hear about what they want to do. And I tell them life is an adventure, and just to grab it.
Yeah, we had the student senate over last week, and next week we've got the union board coming over to the house for dinner, and then the fraternities and sororities.
Yep.
We've got the heads of the various fraternities and sororities coming over. I think it's very important for the young people to know that 501 Michigan, the president's house, is back open, and for students, and we're going to be doing the same thing for faculty. And it just sends a clear message that we're a community. The Brits are a community, student, faculty, and alumni.
Well, I certainly have began to feel that very shortly after I joined the Alumni Board and began to get a little more active. And you talk about talking with the students. People say, "Boy, don't you feel like a dinosaur talking to the students?" And I tell people it's not enervating, it's energizing. I'm 22 again.
I couldn't agree with you more, Ted.
Yeah, I feel younger being here on campus.
I
And
know.
the students are just amazing. We had the best time with the student senate and sharing ideas and their future and careers that they were talking about.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. And there's a piano in this house. And all of a sudden I said, anybody play piano? And so this very young student he's like a prodigy. He's 16 years old, and he's a sophomore in Albion. And he's like, well, I do. So we whipped off the cover of the piano, and he went in and he practically played a concert for us without sheet music or anything. It was amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, they a lot of energy, a lot of creativity. And I tell people, and I talk to the students at Albion, I feel good about the future. I feel good about the future. Well, let's talk about a couple of things at the college, though, things that I hear and other graduates have brought to my attention. A number of people wonder about student housing and what's being done there. Obviously, if I bring my 17, 18-year-old child to the school, I'm interested in where he or she's going to live and what it looks like. What are the problems there and what's being done?
Yeah, it's at the top of my list. In fact, just this morning, Donna and I and a number of other senior administration toured. I call it Susanna Wesley, and everybody corrects me. It's Wesley and and then we actually toured it. We walked through many of the common places, the uncommon places, and really want to focus on that. We think enrollment will substantially, and retention will go up with this. So we're focusing on that facility. The bond that was done in January after we got our BBB bond rating, the excess funds we put aside. We're looking at doing housing with that. We think it's critical to really upgrade, take that seriously. We've engaged two developers, entrepreneur at no charge to the college to come up with what does our housing look like in the future. It's a little different than when I went to campus, and it's going to look totally different than the modules that we have. We're looking at multi-housing, pods of housing, maybe 20, 30, 40 units. Students are looking for something new, and we're going to get student engagement in this process. But what we're hoping to do is to get a few extra rooms so we can go back to Wesleyan Hall and do what we need to do to upgrade, modernize, and get that facility back to the robust years. It's still structurally sound. It is very functional, but we do need to do some upgrading in there. There was some paint in that place. I'm not for sure what color palette it
Yes,
was.
there was some interesting colors in there.
And so we're going to get some of those things corrected here pretty expeditiously. But it's very dear to our heart. We've currently got 3 floors of in 3 different fraternity houses, 1 floor in 3 different fraternity houses. We're redoing those. That's going to give us 60 rooms that are going to be modernized. There's a number of apartments that we hope are going to come online in the next year to offer us some space. And during the COVID phase, we bought about 7 Victorian houses fairly near the campus as potential houses for incubation periods and that. We're looking at redoing those and bringing those online to give students a different type of housing experience. So we're looking at different housing experiences for students that are looking for something new and upgrading the housing, because it's one of the main questions I'm asked by alumni, and we're taking it very seriously to look at that and get that done in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I seldom have a conversation that housing doesn't come up these days. And it's an interesting problem of, when you're redoing a floor at Wesley, and by the way, I still call it Susanna Wesley as well, sign of my age. You have to have someplace to put those students, right? To move people around in order to work on a floor, you have to vacate a floor and put them somewhere. So it's a interesting problem.
Yeah, it really is. We recently got online. We have our own architect on board to help us in these strategies and planning how we do things. And we're really fortunate to really have that insight on hand. But we think, again, this is going to really help our retention and recruitment efforts by getting the housing updated.
Yeah, recruitment and retention are questions that I'm asked all the time. And are there other things we can be doing to improve retention and recruitment?
Well, I think what you're doing, Ted, is wonderful with alumni. There's no better sales force out there than alumni. And it was amazing as we waited to get online here. The friendship and camaraderie among Brits is just amazing. And that sales force really, really helps. We recently did a alumni / student event in Chicago, and it was really amazing, the connectivity between students and alumni. It was really rewarding, and the connectivity.
It was, and we broke up, networked with the students, and it was very inspiring.
I spoke today quite by chance with a 1991 graduate who lives and works in Chicago, grew up in West Michigan, first generation college student, and he spent his career in Chicago, and he attended that event.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, and he was as excited about it as you were. I talked to Mark Newman today, the Vice President for Institutional Advancement, and he was talking about that. But my point is, the people you were there to network with took away as much as you did, maybe more. They were excited about the opportunity to meet you and talk about what's going on campus. And as you know, that's something we're working on. We're trying to get kind of elevate that activity of the Alumni Board across the country. And Chicago is a great model for that. You mentioned fraternity housing on the way. What's the status of Greek life on campus?
Well, Greek life is here, and I think it's here to stay. We're going to be meeting with them in the next couple of weeks to talk about their housing initiatives and their initiatives as we move forward. Some of them do have some new units that are available that will be occupying if the fraternities don't, but the fraternities are here. There's a strong interest. The recruitment effort is out there. The tradition carries on. We actually were invited to the sorority initiative, and
that was,
that's a highlight of.
oh yeah, that was really fun. It was where they got their envelopes, they opened them up, and you heard screams in the audience because they, that said where they were, which house they were, sorority house they were going to be in. Yep.
So it's live and well.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And housing is part of that problem. But by the way, again, I think of things that maybe younger alums don't think of because I was there so long ago. But you mentioned being married in Belmont Manor.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions that was submitted by one of our people registering for this evening was, what are the plans for Belmont Manor? Is it there? Is it in use? What's the story?
It's still in good condition. We took the auxiliary facility next to Belmont, the one that's to the left, if you look at it, that needed to be gutted out. We did gut that, so it's ready to be redone. We've taken a look at it from a conference center, if that's where we want to take it. The house is still in good condition. They've temporarily mothballed it as we take a look at different things. We're strongly looking at that as a conference facility, and we think it has some possibilities in that light. So we're keeping it. It's one of the projects we're looking at, one of the initiatives. It's obviously close to Donna, my heart, and
not only did we get married there, he gave me a 50th birthday surprise party at Belmont.
At Belmont.
Yeah, it has a lot of memories for a number of us, and we're happy to do that. It's interesting, of course, that was given by the Clark Dean family to the college, and Clark Dean was the name of the pool. The pool was named after Clark, the Dean family, and I grew up with the Dean family here in Albion, and they were head of Union. His grandfather, I believe, was the head of Union Steel at the time. So a lot of good memories. We appreciate donations like that. And we're trying to be good stewards of those types of donations that a lot of us have a lot of fond memories with on campus. I think it could be a very good asset for the campus. Through the years, people like Morley Frazier operated that and had a number of wonderful conferences out there.
Yeah, you keep bringing back memories with names you're dropping here. While we're talking about memories, Joe, you were there, graduated in 1978. Share with us just a couple of your memories as a student, things that you just, they're going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just remember the camaraderie, and I was born and raised in Albion, and so there was 12 of us that went from Albion High School that year to Albion College. But what was interesting is we thought the 12 of us would kind of be as a group. We all integrated into college. We were all accepted in the different areas that we were. But, I give Albion a lot of credit, because if I'd have went to a big school, I think I would have got lost in the process. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that Albion College experience.
I say that almost every week. This is about you and not about me, but I'll share one story some of you have heard before, and I see some contemporaries of mine here with us, and this may resonate with them. I got married in the Presbyterian Church in Marshall. The summer, in August, right after I graduated from Albion. I was a history major, and there was a person on the history faculty in those days named Julian Ramelkamp. Some people are nodding heads. Julian was a legend, and he was also the pre-law faculty advisor. And he was my favorite, I don't mean to offend anyone, but he was my favorite professor at Albion. And so and as I tell this story, 60 years later, I still get a lump in my throat. So the ceremony is over. I now pronounce you man and wife, and we're walking up the aisle, and there, seated on my left, was Julian Ramelkamp and his wife, Mabel. And I almost went to Michigan, and I tell people, don't think that would have happened had I gone to Michigan. And it's that kind of memory that I think everybody, I see people on the screen nodding their heads. We all have that kind of memory about our little school. And there's Rick Kinder right behind me, and ATO at Albion. He's thumbs up. He remembers all that as well. So it's a great place.
I'm going to share my Ramelkamp story. I had Mrs. Ramelkamp for 8th grade English, Shakespeare. And I'll never forget, you had to get up in front of the class, your 8th grade, and recite Shakespeare to the class. And this is 8th grade. Tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. Isn't that it? And it's those learning experiences that carry you through your whole life. What a wonderful Dr. and Mrs. Ramelkamp were to this community.
And 8th grade was a long time ago.
8th grade was a long time ago.
Oh, you're both kids. You're both kids. Yeah, it was. I remember Mabel Ramelkamp very well. I remember driving to Albion to attend Julian Ramelkamp's funeral. I mean, the memories we all have. And tomorrow's our birthday, 187 years.
It's amazing.
Pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you find that prospective students, or maybe it's their parents, what are they looking for when they come to visit Albion? And what are the differentiators that help them decide to go to Albion instead of someplace else?
I think by far the institutes here at Albion, the Ford Institute, Gerstacker, now we have the Wilson, they have the presidential scholars 2 Saturdays where they come in, and literally as I work the room, almost every one of those students was interested in one of the institutes. If they said they were pre-med or kinesiology is the new way for almost pre-med, it seems like. And I'd say, oh, the Wilson Institute. Oh my gosh, how did you guess? I was interested in the Wilson Institute. So the Institute and the interest in athletics is just amazing. So many young people are coming here to continue their sporting, and we've got wrestling, men's and women's wrestling now. That is so important to young people.
Yeah, I think you've pretty good percentages are both in the institutes and an athlete or one or the other.
Yeah, and a number of them are still 40s and Gerstacker, Ford Stackers. The Ford Stacker is still an acronym they're using. So it's really the institutes are huge, a huge draw to Albion, and 40-some%, it's running about 42% this year of the applications with deposits are immediately enrolling in one of the institutes.
42%?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Well, that's a differentiator, all right. There weren't institutes when I was there. I wish there had been. I've always been fascinated by the institutes, and kind of looking back on my career, I kind of wonder which I would have been attracted to at the time, but that's another story. So what are some of the other things that are going on academically? What departments are growing? What are some of the exciting things that we can all look forward to in the coming year or two?
Well, certainly the Jim Wilson Institute has been a huge success. They're running about 350 members to that institute alone. And you think about, wasn't that many years ago, they started with 0, they're up to 350. That's big. We've taken a look at, where do we want to position ourselves with online training. We had to do some of that during COVID, so we're going to be taking a look at that. That's not our niche. We're we're on campus environment, but we're taking a look at that. We're also potentially, down the road, maybe do we want to do a master's degree program? So we're stepping back and really just taking a good look at the options that we have available to us and that. But the faculty, I came from an FSC faculty steering committee meeting prior to this tonight, and the faculty is as strong as ever. They're on board with us. They're looking at curriculum and doing things. And it's just so nice to see the faculty so engaged in the day-to-day activities.
That is good to hear. So we were coming off what you described earlier as a somewhat difficult time, and it's good to hear that there's that feeling on campus. Somebody asked me the other day about the old Grand Getaway at the Grand Hotel, which met its demise, at least temporarily, with the COVID-19 thing. Is there any talk about bringing something like that back?
Well, we're going to take a look at it. It's funny about COVID. I'll never forget when COVID started being talked about. I was still at President Ford's foundation at the time, and we were going like, should we cancel these meetings or postpone them for 30 days, or should we be safe with 45 days? And so we're hoping to be able to retake a look at that and get back to some normalcy. There's been some thoughts and suggestions too. Maybe it's a different location coming up. We did the Grand Hotel for a number of years. The Musser family were strong Albion supporters, and they've kind of moved on. I think one of the Mussers is still on the board of directors for the Grand Hotel. So we're going to take a good look at it. It was a great way for Brits of all ages to come back together again. And we're so pleased that our niece is here on campus. And, we stayed out of encouragement one way or another. But you know what? We took our niece a couple of times to the Grand event. We brought her to the football games, and she made a decision. She felt comfortable in coming to Albion.
Yeah, and I never forget at the Grand Hotel, it was so fun bringing her, and she just really got into it, and she lost her first tooth there. And so everyone really paid attention to her. And the Tooth Fairy pays more on Mackinac Island.
Well, everything's more expensive on Mackinac Island, right?
Yeah.
Well, those were grand days. And I think looking at a program like that, whether it's a Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island or I think, Joe, we were talking about this the other day. I think you mentioned the Traverse City area. There are other places to do that kind of all-class retreat, Friday afternoon to Sunday noon. Those are great times.
There's a lot of fond memories from Mackinac Island. It's been a very popular request.
Well, let's hope we can do something like that again. Somebody also mentioned the 25-year club. I'd never heard of the 25-year club. What's that all about?
That has to do with faculty that have been faculty members for 25 years.
25 years, they do.
Yeah, and again, it kind of got in a hiatus with the COVID. We're looking back at getting that back up and going. It's surprising how many things in the last 2 years kind of got put to the wayside a little bit, and cross our fingers. We hope that COVID's behind us and we can get back to some of these rich traditions on campus and off campus.
What are the mask mandates and distancing and so forth rules on campus right now?
Well, we're in pretty good shape. We made the determination that we were going to not do masks outside or other things in the office. But we did say we were going to continue the mask in the classrooms, in the laboratory rooms, where close quarters. And next week, we're going to take a look at that. Things are very good in Calhoun County right now. People coming back from spring break, it doesn't appear to be, we have any spikes or any major increases. So we've led the way in how we handle COVID, keeping our classrooms open. So that's the last area, the classrooms and laboratories, and we'll be taking a look at that next week. But I'm positive right now, if the trends continue, that we're going to be in pretty good shape here.
That's great news. I'm glad to hear that, because it's been very difficult. I look back at my college career and how transformative it was for me, and it's hard to imagine having 2 years of it, maybe more, be so anormal, abnormal. Just I'm grateful that we're able to get back to that. We've talked about a lot of exciting things that are going on there. Let me ask you this one, Joe. What's the thing that keeps you awake at night?
I think getting back to normal. I think COVID is taking a toll on enrollment a little bit. Our enrollment looks good. It looks like we're going to be about 500, like it has been. But the young people that are coming out of high school, you think about the last couple of years of their high school experience, it's been pretty tough on them. It's been very different mentally, and I think, you know, I'm encouraged that we're going to have a good class, but we certainly do need and can't afford to have another setback with COVID, because it's affecting a lot of institutions here in Michigan. I won't name any of them, but it was just on the news. One of the major institutions in the state is closing down several of their dorms because of enrollment and that. So we're working hard to make sure that we don't have issues, but it's just there. The students that have lived in it for the last couple of years at the high school level, it's going to be quite a shock to them getting back to full-time classrooms and things. So we're actively talking about it and thinking about it and addressing this up front, so that students can transition into the college life next year.
And you guys are also looking for ways to support them.
Oh yeah, we need to support the students. We need to number one, recognize what they've been through the last 2 years, and the fact that many of them have had very little active classroom experience in the last couple of years.
Well, I should think as well, we talked about retention earlier. I should think that Cutler, for example, would be very important in being in a place where the student can go and get some non-threatening guidance, and feel comfortable asking for help. Is that attitude growing among the students, and has COVID affected it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting. We went through our HLC recreditation earlier this winter, and they were very fascinated, the reviewers, with the concept. And I think putting it in the library was really just spot on, because it's you know, the help desk and things are usually buried someplace or put away, and even help with your computer. If you got a computer issue, you go to the library. You need a new photo ID, you go to the library. That's a central gathering place, the library. And it isn't just to see books, it's to get help, it's to be involved, it's to be engaged. And so it's great having the Cutler, and thank goodness for that generous donation that's allowed us to be part of this experience on how to help and retain students. It's key to be on campus, it's key to be central to the campus, and it's key to be easy for students to come in and get that help. But yeah, instead of the kind of what I would say the old checkout area where you check out your books, now is you need a new photo ID, you need some help with technology. That's the help desk.
Oh yeah, and I was like super impressed when we went for a tour. I was amazed at what resources they have available for students now.
Yeah, and right to the right of the desk is 3D printing, to be able to go in and do 3D printing at the library. There's less books and more unique things and more opportunities for young people.
It's exciting.
Some of us older alums I see on screen kind of grinning about all of this and wondering why we were born so early, you know. I've had occasion, I know a couple or more than a couple of people currently on the alumni board with whom I serve, with pleasure, I might add, are with us. And we talked about Grand Getaway, and my friend Mike Haynes has shared that they took their son there to Grand Getaway when he was a high school senior. And he had the opportunity to mingle with alumni, and it changed his worldview, as Mike puts it. And that young man will graduate from Albion on May 7. And I promised Michael that he can be the one to hand his son that lapel pin as he walks off the steps at Kresge. And I also had the privilege of meeting a young man from Vero Beach, Florida. Cynthia Filardo's on the board with me, and Wyatt has had an interesting life, a brilliant young man. And I sat across from him at Albion Malibu as we were finishing our hamburgers a few weeks ago. And he had not yet, I don't think he had announced what his decision was. He had lots of opportunities for college, Donna and Joe. And I said to him, no matter where you go, I hope you'll be happy. I know you'll be a success. And I just wish you every bit of luck. And he looked at me and he said, I'm really comfortable at Albion. And it was the honors program, the opportunity that he saw to grow and to be comfortable in an environment. And I hope we never lose that. I hope we never lose that. And again, I'm seeing heads nodding.
Yeah.
People who had similar experiences. And going back to my age, and I see at least one of my classmates here. And it was a different place, but we're still there. And tomorrow we will have been around for 187 years. Isn't that remarkable?
It's a remarkable.
Yeah, that is remarkable. And it's so great to see the young students. We did talk about the Institute, but the honors program is another one. How many students are talking about being in the honors program, being a 40, a Gerstacker, being involved in things? Young people want to be involved, and we have a great tradition with the different programs, the sporting activities on campus for young people to be involved, and they want to take advantage of those opportunities.
I think that today's young people, and maybe I'm just forgetting how we felt back in the dark ages, but I think they recognize opportunity to grow, and they're eager to take advantage of that opportunity. And with the institutes and with what do I call it, the culture at Albion, I think it lends itself well to that population, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Gosh, this has been great. The time has gone so fast, Kathleen. I don't want you to.
Can I ask one thing? Really
Sure.
There have been a couple people. Joe, if you could just share anything you can. I don't know where you're at in the status of the presidential search, but a few people have messaged that they'd like to hear your thoughts and where we're at with that.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
it's
good question. That was kind of next on my list, and I keep skipping over it. Thank you.
well, Brian McFeely, class of 78, is agreed to spearhead the search. They spent some good time making sure that we have a great cross-section, student, faculty, board members, community people involved. I think it totals about 14, 15. I think their first meeting is going to be here in the next week. I can't remember exactly what day it is. So they've spent some good time building a foundation. They're going to be looking at what are we looking for? What search firm do we want to look for? So Brian's done a great job in building a foundation. What I've told them is I'm on board as long as you need me. Do the process right. I'm retired. When I leave this position, I'm going back to retirement. So just take the process, do it right. Don't feel like you're under pressure. And so, but the search process is ongoing, and they'll be, I think, making some good headway now with a committee in place and kind of some preliminary work that's been done on the search firm that they'll be working with. So a lot of things are starting to happen, being pulled together on that front. Great question.
I'm glad to hear that. That is a question that I've been asked frequently. Kathleen, I don't know how we are on our time.
Yeah, we were gonna wrap it up at 8:15 and it's 8:16. So I think we're pretty well wrapped up.
Goes
Yes.
back to my radio days with that clock in my head, right? Tick, 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 tick. Let me
Yeah.
put in, Joe, I want you and Donna to have a chance for your kind of parting comments, but I'd like to put in just a little plug for the Alumni Board. We are working hard to help the college continue to grow, to launch into year 188 and beyond. If you have ideas that you'd like to share with us, get online. We're all listed there. You can contact any of us on the Alumni Board. Share those ideas. We talk frequently. We exchange emails back and forth. We meet several times a year. We are more than an organization that hands out lapel pins at graduation. We want to be more, and we will be more. And I want to thank those of the Alumni Board who are with us tonight. I want the rest of you to think about it. Think of us as your resource. We have jobs for lots of people. If you've got some volunteer time, let us know. I see Ron Lazard is here. He was my predecessor as president of the Alumni Board. Thank you for charting a path for the rest of us, Ron. We appreciate that. So with that, I would ask Joe, Donna, what are your parting thoughts for us as we approach birthday number 187?
Oh, yeah. You know, I think it's a great team effort, Ted. I know you and I talk frequently. We compare notes frequently. I think Joey Miller might be, I think I saw her picture once or twice on the screen there. She's our new chairperson for the board. Her and I compare notes on a very regular basis. I think I want to let people watching this know that it's a great team effort. As Donna and I have been a team effort to get the community on board, get students comfortable, go to faculty meetings. We've got a team effort that I don't think has quite ever existed among the alumni board, the college board, and the president's office. And it's just coming together and it's creating an effort. In fact, if Joey's still online with us and she wants to say hello, I think it'd be great to do that.
I've been watching for you, Joey, and I hadn't seen you. I now see that you are on the list here. If you're still with us, would you unmute yourself and say hi?
Hopefully you can hear me.
I can. We can.
Okay, Joey.
Hello, everyone. And this has been fun to listen to. And as Joe said, we've got quite a partnership going forward. And we're really excited about moving into our new birthday year with our vision and our students in mind.
And Joey Miller is the chairman of the board of trustees, the governing body for our institution. Joey, thank you so much for all you're doing to get us into the future.
And that's what it's about, Ted, the future. These students are amazing.
Yeah, I think it's being student focused and being engaged with them. They're excited. Most of them are just so excited to getting back to normal this year. And so it's great to be part of this and seeing the transition. I think, as I've said before, Ted, you know, I have an open door, open phone policy. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to them. I'm happy to do more of these. I'm going up to Grand Rapids tomorrow night. We got some alumni are going to get together and meet with potential students in the town. So we're just out there spreading the word about Albion and the Britton spirit. And
you're coming over to my neighborhood in early April.
Yeah, we sure are. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. So if you want to talk to Joe Calvaruso and you can't get a hold of him, it's probably your fault. Very approachable. Joey Miller, thanks for being with us. Joey and I had a conversation that was going to be 15 minutes and lasted an hour a week ago. for the rest of you, I just want you to know, I think Albion is in very good hands. And we should all be grateful for that. Let's all go Brits. Good night, everyone.
Go Brits, thank you.
Go Brits, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Happy birthday to Albion tomorrow. And there is one more event tomorrow night. It's the history of Albion with our archivist, Elizabeth Palmer, and our senior, Akaya Ridley, who has done research about Albion's history. So she's going to share her research tomorrow evening. So if you are inclined and want to join and be there for our actual birthday, the students on campus this week have been doing wonderful events to celebrate and let the students know what March 23rd means, that in March 23rd in 1835, our wonderful college was founded. And so we're trying to get the students to realize what the importance of this day is, so that when they graduate and become alumni, it's a special day for them as well. So, all right. Well, we will post the recording on the website. So if you have friends you want to send it to or that couldn't join tonight, please encourage them to watch this and find out all the updates from Joe and Donna. Thanks, Joe and Donna and Ted. This was wonderful.
Thank you all.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.